busy, fun-filled night ahead, so we're going to get straight to it. Secretary Brown, attendance, please.
Representative DeBaz.
President voting.
Representative Gallo.
President voting.
Representative Huffman.
President voting.
Representative Sabe.
President voting.
Representative Fitch.
President voting.
Representative Smith, Theo.
President voting.
Representative Ratliff.
President voting.
Representative Razavi.
President voting.
Representative Tran.
President voting.
Representative Vaughn.
Proxy.
Representative Hassan. Representative Shu. Representative Heck. Representative Height. Representative Sevier.
President voting.
Representative McHenry. Representative Ladelpha.
President voting.
Representative Butcher. Representative Wetterston.
President voting.
Representative Komeyer.
President voting.
Representative Brelson. Representative Lindell. Representative Liu.
President voting.
Representative Tingley.
President voting.
Representative Ruska.
President voting.
Representative Feaster. Representative Payne. Representative Stump. Representative Shaw.
President voting.
Representative Alvarado. Representative Toomey.
President voting.
Representative Gladys.
Proxy.
Representative Rangaswamy.
President voting.
Representative Ridgway.
President voting.
Speaker Redenzik.
Present.
Treasurer Williams. Treasurer Schloff.
Present.
Parliamentary McKee.
Present.
Vice President Dooner.
President voting.
Vice President Cruz.
Present and voting.
Vice President Cummins.
Present voting.
Vice President Shaw.
President voting.
Vice President Hale. President Agarwal.
If you all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get into old business, we have a little movement in the agenda for some of our presentations tonight. First, we have an announcement from Relay for Life. So, Representative Lindelfa and Liu, the floor is yours.
Hi, GA. We got a cool offer to help and be a part of a Relay for Life fundraising event this weekend. This Saturday, it's with the Case Crew Club in Adelbert. They have this big regatta with, I think, about 500 people. It's co-sponsored by the Cleveland Rowing Foundation, and we want to help out and get involved. So we're going to have a table where we're going to be selling Gatorade, granola bars, different things like that, and we want to have 1 to 2 people working per hour. So I'm going to pass around the sign-up sheet, and if you are interested and able to help participate, just sign up on that. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email any one of us.
Okay. Yeah, and then we're asking about people to participate in Relay for Life. If you guys having time, we don't have to commit on this, but if you guys are willing to do this, could you raise your hand so that we can see that how many people are coming for Relay for Life?
So in general, help.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you're willing to participate in the USG team for Relay for Life.
It'll be really fun.
Good, that's a good number.
Okay. Thank
Cool,
you.
thank you very much.
Is there any?
Treasurer Schloff.
I do have a question. So I've signed up for the team online when you first sent out the request for the USG team. So far, how many people do we have on that? And the people that just raised their hands, is there a way for them to access that again, to get that email again?
Yeah, I think the last time I sent out that email was when we were in that Cadova raffle thing, which unfortunately we did not get the Cadova raffle. Sorry, guys, because we did not have 4 people at the time. But I think we have about 4 or 6 people. I can definitely send out our link again for our team, and I encourage you all to sign up officially for the USG team.
Any other points?
Thank you. Next up, we have Vice President Cruz.
Alright, sorry about this, guys. I have to leave early to go to Panhell tonight. Do rep spotlight first, and then I have another fun thing up my sleeve. Alright, first person, well, okay. You can see my board report. I'll talk about that in a minute or two. First person tonight. This person, dream job would be a low-key, fun job in a smallish company developing software to do cool things. Favorite flavor of ice cream is Spumoni. Dan?
Is it Mr. Tom Dooner?
It is. I think I did that in the bad order today. More fun fact about Tom. Fun facts. Something on his bucket list is to go skydiving. His weapon of choice in a world overrun by zombies would be a katana. Let's see. Biggest pet peeve, it's traffic lights. What a disgraceful lack of technology, he says. Let's see. One thing he would change about CWR, selfishly improve the computer science curriculum by replacing some professors and teaching modern technologies in addition to the fundamentals. And what would he do with $1 million? Give to Secretary Brown to invest for him. All right. We got $100 grand and a crunch bar. Okay. Look at that. What a gentleman. What a gentleman. All right. Our next person. Let's see. Favorite flavor of ice cream, mint chocolate chip. On the bucket list, riding this person's own motorcycle. Favorite movie when this person was a kid, The Little Mermaid. A solid choice. Song could this person listen to every day? She-Wolf. Let's see. Dogs or cats? This person says dolphins. Cake or pie? Both. And let's see. Favorite TV show? How I Met Your Mother. Snaps for that. Let's see. Major. Let's get to biology pre-med. That does not narrow it down. Dream job would be a dermatologist. This person is a senior. This person, oh, Secretary Brown.
Is it Vice President Shaw?
It is. All right, 100 grand or crunch bar?
Crunch bar.
All right, Dan. Pass this down. All right, secondly, my committee meeting yesterday, we decided we were going to brainstorm some awesome ideas for our video ad campaign. So we drew some storyboards, and I thought you all might like to see them because they're really fun. I was gonna like do another game where I made people guess whose was whose, but I figured you didn't all want to be here for like an extra half hour, so I thought we'd just enjoy looking at them. You can guess for yourselves.
Did you spell Jaisal wrong?
This one's not mine. All right, whose is it? Read it for us. Explain.
Yeah. Mine's pretty much about like all the VPs. It pretty much highlights them, and it's pretty much just random people talking about problems and how each of the different committees would help with that problem. They just kind of like poof out of nowhere and like saying I would help, and then like everyone at the end just like saying USG, we're here to USG is here to serve you first, the students, and then it's just pretty much like a fun like superhero type kind of. Yep.
All right, so that was one of them. Some of them are a little more confusing. Some of the artistry is a little more special.
Sorry that my handwriting is so terrible.
This one has 2 on it. There's one across the top and then like down the side and then the other one. This person was on a brainstorming tear. Albert. I love this one.
President Agarwal.
So I have to say I appreciate your committee's enthusiasm on this. Was there any, out of all these different storyboards, was there a selection or 2 or one that got more votes?
We didn't vote on them. I thought it was just a good brainstorming session to kind of focus in. And then we're going to talk to Ignite and get some input from them since they really want to have an input in the creative process. So I thought we'd give them our ideas and have them tell us what they think. Any other points?
Thank you, Laura. All right, we're going to start with our old business now. Are there any nominations for the commuter representative? Are there any nominations for the engineering representative position? Representative Toomey.
Jonathan Honorado.
Any other nominations for engineering? Okay. Are there any nominations for the position of Arts and Sciences rep? We actually found out we have there was a typing error on here. There are 2 open positions. Representative Gallo.
Mr. Ben Brown.
Any other nominations? Okay. Right. Are there any final nominations for the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing representative position? Representative Ruska.
Mariah Watts.
Okay. Well, we do have a letter of intent submitted. Would anyone like to move to close the nominations? All right. So can we please have Miss Nicole Cornelius approach the podium, please? You'll have 2.5 minutes to speak and take questions. You can start whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Nicole Cornelius. I'm the USNA freshman class president. I have really enjoyed working on USNA this year, and I'd really like to work on a more campus-focused group, which is what USG is, obviously. I think that the nursing school has a really unique voice that needs to be heard on campus and in USG. And I was here at the meeting last week, and I really enjoyed everything that you guys were talking about and working on, and I just think it'd be a really good thing to join. Any questions?
Any questions? Representative Rangaswamy.
So how does your class schedule work?
My schedule is pretty loaded right now, but I still have time to do other things and be involved.
Vice President Shaw.
Well, I'd really like to work on getting like SAGEs worked out with nurses, because it's really hard to pick a SAGEs because our schedules are so loaded and everything. So SAGEs mostly.
Representative Shaw.
How do you feel that your unique perspective from the School of Nursing will help benefit the entire campus as a whole?
I just feel that a lot of the campus doesn't really know all the stuff that nurses do and how busy we are. So just making the campus more balanced as a whole.
Any final questions? All right, thank you. If you'll please step outside the room, and we'll invite you back in shortly. Thank you for getting the door, comma Theo. Do with the sound off. Thank you. All right, points for discussion. A for yes. Everything else, no. You can't abstain. You can't abstain. How?
Okay, I'll go until 30 seconds, just make sure everyone's in.
Well, we have a new representative. Colleen, could you let her back in, please? Thank you. Congratulations. Moving right along into new business, we have a couple bills tonight and another piece of business to take care of. Can I please get a motion to introduce our first bill for the evening? I am going to ask for a formal motion this time. Representative Rangaswamy. It's moved to introduce. Is there a second? Okay. Do we have a speaker in the pro? Treasurer Schloff, already on top of it. I like it.
Speeding this along. All right, guys. This, what is this again? Sorry, a bill. Sorry, I was gonna call it a resolution. I was like, what? No, it's a bill. Okay. The bill today is to recognize two groups on campus, one being the Case Lunabotics Club and the Case Graphics Novel Club. Just to tell you a little bit about these new groups in case you want to be a part of them and support them on campus. The Lunabotics Club is a robotic space exploration club, and it's geared towards engineers to making these lunar robots, and they want to compete in the NASA International Lunabotics Mining Competition. So they seemed really cool. They were different than our other Lego robotics group on campus, so we said yes to them. Also, the great Case Graphic Novels Club is more of a discussion group on different graphic novels, and they want to discuss characters and themes and plots. And they also are encouraging people to write their own graphic novels. So we recognize both those groups.
Is there a speaker in the con? Okay, moving into discussion. Moving into discussion, would anyone like to make any points?
Are we allowed to ask questions?
Yes.
So, is there anything for anybody who can respond? Is there anything other than the competition that the Case Lunabotics Club would be invested in doing?
Vice President Shaw.
They were thinking about holding a couple speaker events. I actually talked to them about this during like dinner a while ago, but they had said that they wanted a couple professors to come in and educate the students about lunar mechanics and designs and stuff like that. But the competition that they're wanting to do this is not until the summer of next year, so they've got a lot of time to prepare and to PR themselves.
Representative Gallo.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what's a graphic novel? No. I'm like, when I think graphic novel, I think a picture book, and it's not that. And then I also think of like the Japanese kind of books. Is that what it is? I'm just wondering.
Representative Shaw.
Mouse, Persepolis, anything with pictures and a couple words that tells a story. They're usually Watchmen, any sort of comic book.
Any other points? Representative Ladelfa.
I have a question. Why it says recognition shall expire June 30th? Is that just something that's always single semester?
Vice President Shaw.
Recognition usually expires at the end of the year. Last year it was because we were going through different finance systems. Student groups expired by semester, but now since we're stably on a particular finance system, they usually, as previous years have shown, that the groups expire at the end of the semester and they have to get re-recognized before the coming school year.
Any final points? Representative Gallo.
I move to table Bill B 21-14.
Just so you know, we don't have to table them if we don't want to. I know most of the assembly can be under the impression that we need to, but that's just if you, do you want to table, or is it just because you think we need to table?
I retract my previous statement.
Okay. Vice President Dooner.
Previous question?
Does anyone dissent? We're going to move into the vote then.
As always, vote A for yes, B for no, and C, D, and E to abstain.
Bill B 21-14 passes. Can I get a motion, please, to introduce our next bill? Vice President Shaw.
I motion to introduce the Bill 12-15.
Vice President Shaw, I think you're getting rusty. What do you say you want to do?
Move to introduce Bill 12-15. 21-15. Second.
Is there a speaker in the pro?
Sorry, just a little cluster there. This is the rolling funding for the past 3 weeks, I believe. As you can go through it, this is a lot. They've requested about $6,000. We gave them about $5,000. Just looking at the rolling funding bill, I'd say the best request we've gotten so far is 3 plungers. I am open to points.
Questions for VP Shaw? Okay, thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Is there a speaker in the con? All right, then we're going to move into discussion. Would anyone like to bring up anything for discussion? I see a lot of eyes up on the screen. I don't know if you're actually really studying this or if you have nothing. Does anyone object to President Agarwal?
I have a question about ski and snowboarding club lift tickets, $1,100. Is this for one trip or is this for multiple trips throughout the semester?
This is for one trip.
Seeing no other points, does anyone object to moving into the vote? Okay, we're gonna move into the vote then.
As always, vote A for yes, B for no, and C, D, or E to abstain. I think there's 2 more out there. I'll give you to 34 seconds.
And the bill passes. All right, can we have motion to introduce our final piece of legislation for the night? Treasurer Schlaf.
I move to introduce Bill R21-06.
I think you're getting rusty too, Ellen. What, is it a...
Houston, oh my gosh.
Thank you. President Agrawal.
Okay, guys. So, if you recall, last week we had a discussion about an open letter that we received from Northwestern University and asking us to sign our name on this letter in support of free speech and just kind of to express solidarity for the events that occurred at UC Berkeley and UC Davis last semester. And so what happened was the Assembly voted to refer this back to the Executive Committee and asked the Executive Committee to give a recommendation about how to proceed on this issue of deciding whether to sign it or not. So we talked about it at our executive meeting last Thursday, and we decided that the best way to represent this whole situation to the Assembly is in the form of a resolution. This resolution takes a supportive stance, but we did consider everybody's comments from the previous GA with regards to acknowledging Case Police Department, and in general, I think the sentiment was, is this something that should come from CWRU? Is this really expressive of the student body's sentiments? Does this apply to us? And so we tried to really, in the spirit of Case Western Reserve, put some more as clauses as to what our position might be on this. And so, as I said before, we acknowledge our police department and their stance. And we also, after some digging, I found some guidelines for the use of university facilities by individuals and external groups. It's a link on the Case website, I think from the President's Office website. Point 6 says, I'm gonna read this to you guys, use of facilities for speech and assembly. The university supports the right of its students, faculty, and staff to discuss, express, advocate, and examine issues or ideas within constitutionally protected boundaries. Expressive activities and inquiry are vital to the academic endeavor. This right to free expression comes with a responsibility to consider and accommodate other members of the university community. University facilities may not be used in a manner that disrupts university operations, restricts freedom of movement, damages property, or creates an unsafe situation for students, faculty, and staff, or others. So we also took this into account that this is a university position. Administrators wrote this. So now I think it's up to you guys as representatives. I hope you did inquire, ask your peers about what their thoughts might be on this. And as representatives, and this being a resolution, you do have the right to amend it. You do have the right to vote against it or for it. We wrote it in a supportive stance, but passing this resolution would say that we would sign the letter. And if this resolution were not to pass, we would not sign the letter. Simple as that. So that's all I'm going to say. I can answer any questions if there are any.
Are there any questions for President Agrawal? Representative Shaw.
So, just to clarify, when looking over the resolution, there's no way that we can reword the letter or try to make it more applicable to Case Western.
No, we are not going to reword the letter that was given to us from Northwestern University. Some universities have already signed the letter as it was written. Mm-hmm. So about 5 or 6 universities already signed the letter as it was written. So I don't think we can go back and offer recommendations to Northwestern about how to change it. So we're not going to alter their letter.
Thank you.
Any other questions for President Agarwal? Representative Haight.
Just another clarification. We will be the only ones signing it, not those who will be sent the letter in their entirety?
Correct. It would be signed the undergraduate student government at Case Western Reserve University.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Divya. Is there a speaker in the con? Treasurer Schloff.
Okay, guys. I did some research over the weekend on this whole topic of what happened at UC Davis. I don't know if anyone saw the video that Doug Brubaker sent out to GA, the YouTube video that was about 15 minutes long, that was purely footage taken from the event at UC Davis. It wasn't a newscast, it was someone, several people that were in the protest that happened on their campus. After doing my own research, and I know this gets into a lot of politics per se, but what happened, from what I understand, the students at UC Davis camped out on their campus, which was actually against their university policy. So they were breaking a university rule by spending the night on their quad. The officials at the university felt that the only way to get rid of all these students on their quad was to call in the police. And that's how the police got into this event. And what happened was the students encircled the police, and it was against the law because they were resisting the police movement. Although it was a peaceful protest, they were protesting about Occupy Wall Street. The actions that they took on campus was a resisting police, and that's why violence, as in pepper spray, was used on the students to get them to move. So when I look at the letter that that Northwestern had written to us, it says used to the campus police in full riot gear, equipped with batons and beanbag guns, used to violently disperse the protest. They weren't dispersing the protest necessarily. They were dispersing the students off the quad as directed from the university because of the rule that they had broken. And then it also says, while sitting in an expression of nonviolence resistance. Yes, they can sit down, but that act of sitting in front of the police and blocking them from getting out of this circle, enclosed circle, is against the law. You're resisting a policeman. And I know that they refer to United States Constitution, the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. That is completely true, that we have the right as an American to have free speech and protest on campus, but that does not mean that we can break the law and go against the police. So those are my points that I wanted to make. By signing this letter, we're pretty much agreeing that the students were in the right and the police were in the wrong. And I feel like I feel like it's not appropriate. I feel like the situation was interpreted differently. And I wish that you guys would have seen that video like I did. It was something different than I heard on the news, and something different, and I formed my own opinion about the facts. And I wish we could show a little clip, but that was sent out by Doug.
Vice President Cruz.
I think the video was actually sent to exec and never forwarded to GA, so I don't know if any of them saw it. I think the decision was left up to people, and it was not decided to send out, I guess, something like that. Also, point of personal privilege.
Granted. Are there any other questions for Treasurer Schloff? Colleen?
Doug forwarded that to me. Oh my God. He forwarded it to me, and when I read it, I was not here on Friday, so I think he forwarded it on Thursday night or whatever. When I finally saw it, I wrote him back immediately, but I wouldn't have forwarded it to you. I encouraged him to give it to Divya to forward. That just wasn't my place. So I just wanted you to understand why I didn't do that. So I wrote him back and I encouraged him to send it to Divya, who was not on the recipient list for that. And that's just my protocol to do that, to send it through the executive leadership. Okay?
President Agarwal.
And then Mr. Brubaker never then sent it to me directly after that. Just to clarify why the assembly never saw it is because I never got it.
Any final questions for Treasurer Schlopp before we move into discussion? Okay, thank you. All right. We're going to have 10 minutes for discussion. Points for discussion. Representative Smith, Kamathea.
I have a question for Divya that I forgot to ask. Was there any investigation into opposing opinions from the one given in the letter by the executive committee?
In the sense that did any executive member oppose this whole? I don't understand your question.
In the sense that, was there any investigation into double checking the facts within the letter and making sure?
So both sides?
Yes, both sides.
So the executive board was encouraged to do their own research. We didn't take time in an executive meeting to research this. We took time in the executive meeting to discuss how to approach it. So a resolution was created, but the executive board had the opportunity to edit the resolution over the weekend. And so we encouraged the board to do their own research, just as we encouraged representatives to do their own research, so that we could build up facts so that we could write this resolution. So we didn't do our own as a group, but the executive board could have done their own research, and we did. James Hale was the original author of this, and I think he asked for feedback, but feedback wasn't always sent to the entire board. So I don't know what people's comments were on that from the board individually.
Representative Rangaswamy.
So, we're in discussion.
Yes.
So, I did see that video. And just personally from what I saw, and looking at everything that happened within that video, I just feel a little uncomfortable with the word choice of the letter. Actually, I feel very uncomfortable with the word choice of the letter. I wouldn't necessarily use the word violently. Now, I'm not saying what the police officers did was perfect. They do have fault on their hands, very much so. But at the same time, the students weren't perfect either. They did some things that I honestly would be upset about if I was an officer in the officer's shoes. I would be pretty upset at what some of the things the students were doing at the same time. And I guess we have to be careful when we sign something. Sorry about that. We have to be careful when we sign something to fully comprehend the situation, to see every little fact. And, you know, I wish GA had seen that video, because I feel it, you know, it was unedited. It was really nice in that sense. It just went through every little thing that happened. And yes, I will definitely say the police officers had some fault, but so did the students a little bit. And a part of me doesn't feel comfortable using words like violently, because I don't know, it's debatable. Let's just put it that way. It's not clear cut, dry, yes. That's all I have to say.
Vice President Dooner.
So a couple things, I guess. The way I see this, the way I read this, I don't read it as condemning necessarily the police for one specific action. I see it as a call for the defense of our liberties in the future. I don't see this as, I mean, obviously the first paragraph of the letter is recounting the contents of the video and what happened in that protest. And I think the words violently and however you describe it, and whatever the police did in the past, that's sort of intrinsic to what happens with civil disobedience. I don't know, I guess is my political view anyway. My point here is that I see this as a going forwards resolution, not a retrospective, like slap on the wrist kind of thing. The main sentence that I really like is, we exhort the administrations of UC Berkeley, Davis, and universities across the United States to avoid the use of force in dealing with peaceful student protests. And I think that's a powerful message that calls for the defense of our liberties in the future.
Representative Toomey.
I'm sort of seeing like two sides to this. Like one side is we're either condemning the police or by signing it, or we're condemning the students by not signing it. And like, honestly, it's probably somewhere in the middle. It's the fault of both the students and the police. So we're sort of in a really tough place here to decide to sign this or not. And I agree with Tom that we should like definitely like get the idea across to have universities look forward and say, let's be peaceful about this. So I'm really not entirely sure what to think of if we should sign or not yet.
Colleen.
May I recommend an addition to Art Hardy's title, that you add Chief of Police, comma, Director of, what does it say? University Security.
Representative Shaw.
I'd just like to reiterate Vice President Tom Dooner's position. It seems like to me, as far as the format of the letter goes, the first paragraph, which most of us seem to have the most controversy over in the way that the events were stated, is more of just a reiterative for those who may not be as familiar with the events, just describing what occurred. The most important part of this letter is, as Tom said, the last part, which sort of dictates the fact that this letter is a call to action rather than a way to point fault. We shouldn't be looking at it as the fault of the students or the fault of the police force. This is a way to say, yes, there should be more open dialogue on the events. There should be that violence should not be used in terms of against peaceful civil disobedience, and that universities across the nation should be more aware of events like these and ways to disperse them.
Representative Razavi.
Yeah, I agree with Samir. We shouldn't be like nitpicking or like focusing on like every single word or sentence of the letter, but look at the overall theme and what it's trying to portray. I think us signing it doesn't necessarily, we're not like going against the police or law. I think we're supporting like fellow students and creating awareness, as Representative Shaw said. So I'm for signing the letter.
Treasurer Williams.
Yes. I think that when you talk about like the first opening paragraph of a letter, as crazy as this sounds, like think back to 3rd grade or 5th grade when you're starting to learn to write like paragraphs and actual like multi-paragraph essays. Your first paragraph is really like the thing that grabs people, and it's the thing that sets the tone for the rest of the letter. And I think that when you have a letter like this, and when the first paragraph says things like we're used to violently disperse the protest, you're already putting your reader at a very biased opinion, and you're already putting a lot of emotions into it. And I feel like this letter is a lot more emotional than it is like reactive. And I think the rest of the letter, I think there's some good stuff in it, but I think the problem is you have to take the entire letter, and when you're looking at the events on the video, and I'll be happy to send that out to the assembly, but I guess you can't really say for certain. And I agree that you want to be able to, to support and to have a call for action, but you have to also remember that we're signing the entire letter, and we can't be like, well, we kind of think, the first one's a little harsh. We have to sign the entire thing. And so I've talked to several students over the past weekend about this, and as I hope you all have, and they aren't very comfortable with the signing of this simply because of the ambiguity from the video or from their own previous personal knowledge of the events.
Representative Smith.
Thank you, Martin. I think what Tom said is great, and I love that it's sort of in the resolution that we have put together, because that's our own stance on it. And I think that should be more powerful, because it sort of allows us to form what we're saying, so it's not just this somewhat emotional letter. And while the beginning paragraph is a little charged, the end paragraph, which is sort of the most important part of the letter, because it wraps up everything that they really want to say, really want to do with this. And I think that should be what we want to do. If we want to make a change, then let's sign this. I'm personally don't feel very well about what happened, but if this letter is going to allow people to see this event and start discussing it for themselves, then let's sign it. And hopefully people can see this letter and our resolution to know how we feel on it. Maybe it's not just the letter. I think the resolution is the most important part.
We have hit time, so at this point, I either want someone to make a motion to call a previous question or to extend time. Representative Shaw. Any dissent? Okay. Representative Payne.
Okay, so listening to everyone else, what they're saying, what really is sticking out in my mind is what Tom said about moving forward and the future and needing to prevent things like what we're being portrayed as happened here. Because if it's really how they said it was, it's terrible and it should never happen. However, I feel like because there is controversy about who most of the, I don't want to use the word blame, but who is maybe at fault for a lot of this, I feel like the first two paragraphs of the letter they're just harsh. They're using words like brutally and violently and like full riot. Like, I think it's just a little bit too harsh, and if you were to cut out the first two paragraphs, I would say yes, let's sign this letter. Because I feel like it is a good initiative to prevent future incidents, but it's just, I think it's too much, and they're trying to do too much with one incident.
Representative Alvarado.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with Laura, and I think that like, I was gonna say something. Meh. Like the first part, I think it's just like too much, and it's so controversial that like, it's not. This isn't to persuade anybody. This is just to, kind of create controversy and get people riled up. And I think if we sign this, we're not really being active. We're just being, quite honestly, like, it's just inappropriate. I think I don't think it'll represent our school well, and students that I've talked to, I think that, I don't know, I think if we sign this, we're saying something else, and if we don't sign it, we're not necessarily saying that we don't support freedom of speech and peaceful assembly.
Treasurer Schloff.
Just when I'm listening to you guys like discuss about it, I wanted to point out something else in the letter that really makes me disagree with this, because in the last paragraph it says universities across the United States to avoid the use of force in dealing with peaceful student protests. And it's problematic to me because they're associating force with peaceful protest, which they believe what had happened, but they were using force with people who broke the law. So that's why I have a problem with signing this letter. And I do agree with our resolution. I think that it has good points that we as students at Case Western could agree with. However, I just don't like that we're signing this letter in addition to the resolution. And I feel as if we're almost getting into this political debate, and if we just make an analogy between Democrats and Republicans, we're signing something for either side. And that doesn't necessarily represent the entire student government as a whole, or the entire student body as a whole. I know a lot of people that disagree with this. I brought it up to a lot of different people to get opinions, and I just don't feel comfortable with it.
Final comment before time, Representative Shaw.
Just as a last thing, this letter again is to increase speech and bring attention, not to cause controversy. And I was wondering if it would be possible, as this is the discussion, I'd like to pose a question: if it would be possible if the student body could perhaps support the values in the last paragraph, such as open discussion, but perhaps in addendum to this letter, send in perhaps a resolution from our body, or a second statement that with the letter that clarifies our standpoint on it. I think it would be possible also can I make a motion? Or no?
You're right.
All right, sorry. I think it might be a good idea to table this bill for one more week, just to collect a couple more ideas from the student body and just think about everything we heard today, because this was a little more of a different viewpoint than we had last week. So I move to table resolution R2106.
Okay, so we're gonna have to start a new, just really short discussion on whether to table or not before we vote. Just 2 minutes for discussion. Representative Radcliffe.
I'm just wondering, I haven't seen this video, so I'm really curious about it. I'm not sure how related I believe the letter and the video are, but since it seems to be a point of contention, could it be possible that we just table the bill and whoever has the video, if we could send that out to GA and then we could see it, and then maybe do just a little bit more review, and then make a decision about it. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's it.
Representative Toomey.
I think it's a good idea to table this bill for another week because, we are so divided right now that, whichever side would win the vote, it wouldn't be sending a clear, strong stance from our USG. I think we need to go and talk to the students more and see what our constituents have to say about this. And then next week when we vote on this, not vote only on what we think, but vote how our constituents tell us they feel too. Because that's our job. We're here to represent the students, not just us.
Okay. At this time, we're going to move into the vote on whether or not to table the bill. So if you are in favor of tabling the bill, vote A. If you're not, vote B. Abstaining, everything else.
I think there's one more out there. I'll go till 25 seconds.
Okay, so resolution R21-06 is tabled for another week. So next on the agenda, we're going to be taking nominations for Speaker of the Assembly. Due to very personal reasons, I don't feel comfortable. I think it would be inappropriate for me to continue as Speaker for the rest of this semester. So I'm going to be officially resigning. I'm going to be staying on as an at-large representative, but we will need a new speaker. So can I get a formal motion from someone to open nominations? Representative Toomey.
Move to open nominations for Speaker of the Assembly. Seconded.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a nomination? President Agarwal.
Parliamentarian McKee.
I accept.
Would anyone else like to make a nomination? Representative Gallo.
Do you have any I don't know who knows Robert's rules, so do you have any recommendations?
My recommendation would be Parliamentarian McKee.
As a note with that, we will then next week have to open nominations for parliamentarian. I have 1 or 2 people I'll be talking to about that, so.
So just so you guys know what's going on also, next week, President Agarwal, as the Constitution prescribes, will be taking over the meeting for 1 week while this is still being decided. And then after that, hopefully you'll have a new speaker by then. President Agarwal.
I know it seems like this has all been schemed a little bit, but please, if you have a nomination for Speaker of the Assembly and you might be interested in this position or would like to know more about it, please nominate someone. This is an open nomination.
You can self-nominate too.
You can self-nominate as well.
It's rather fun. Someone should try it. Treasurer Schwab.
Hey Dan, can I ask you a question? Dan, do you know Robert's rules?
I do, but no thanks.
I didn't ask you a second question.
Treasurer Williams.
I'd like to nominate Shangbo Wing.
Any other nominations? Okay. All right,
If
well,
you get any other nominations, send them in to me, and I will send them these information about the position.
Okay. Well, I think that's enough. Not seeing any more for now. So we're going to move into our committee reports now. Oh, excuse me. Before we move into committee reports, can I just make everything official? Can we get a motion to reopen our nursing nominations, please? Representative Gallo.
Move to reopen nominations for the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing.
Second. Thank you. Now, yes, we have, moving into committee reports, before our normal reports, we're going to let our liaison from the SSC give a presentation tonight.
Hey everyone, I'm back from last week, and as promised, I have a very exciting PowerPoint presentation for you all. It's basically a review of some things that may have changed about how we recycle on campus, and a couple facts about Recyclemania, which started on Sunday, but I'll get to that later in the presentation. Thank you. So some of you might know, most Americans throw away more than they recycle. Roughly 80% of what people throw away is recyclable. On campus, our recycling rate is roughly 28%. In Ohio, it's about 29%, so we're just a little under the average, but we're certainly better than most places. Thanks. Any paper can go in any labeled paper bin. Cardboard should be folded up and put next to the paper bins, and you can just leave that out, and the custodial staff will take care of it for you. We recycle all cardboard and paper products, including some you might not know of, including Post-it notes. Pizza boxes are recyclable, even if they're a little greasy. Just make sure you throw out the little wax paper thing that usually comes in them. That's not recyclable. Cereal boxes are also another one. Some people seem to forget that as well. The only thing that isn't recyclable are any drink, like milk or juice containers that have a waxy lining. We can't recycle those, so those unfortunately you have to throw away. But other than that, if it's paper and cardboard, you can recycle it. We recycle all plastics labeled 1 through 7, and all glass, aluminum, and steel, and other bimetals. Those all go in one bin. So if it's plastic, glass, aluminum, they all go in the same bin. Just make sure that, if you can, that the plastic and glass bottles are at least rinsed out if you can. If not, just make sure there's no liquids in there. If there's any caps, they can be recycled too. Just make sure they're not on the bottles themselves. It's a lot easier for our recycling processors to handle. And make sure, again, if it's broken glass, you probably shouldn't recycle it, otherwise it'll tear the bags, and that just makes a hassle for everyone. A lot of products, as you can see here, are recyclable. All of them are 1 through 7. Coat hangers are, interestingly enough, aren't labeled, but they are recyclable. In case you ever have a broken one or you can't use it anymore, you can recycle that. The only thing we can't recycle that's a form of plastic is styrofoam. So unfortunately, you have to throw that away as well. So if you can avoid it, try not to use it. We are also recycling all electronics, or at least most electronics that you guys will use in the dorms and your day-to-day lives. They will have pickups at most of the residence halls and the dining halls. But if you live off campus or it's harder for you to get there, you can email a recycling coordinator. We have a new one. Her name is Erin Collar. I'll show you her email address at the end for you guys. Oh, and light bulbs too. Light bulbs and batteries are also things we can now recycle. And again, we use a lot of energy and a lot of material on this campus. We're like a small city. We use the same amount of energy, and we'll use the same amount of waste as about 20,000 homes do in a year. As you can see up there, in 2000, we threw away approximately 1,776 tons of material, and that cost us about $50,000. Conversely, though, on the flip side, we recycle about $15,000 worth of material, and that's money we get paid by the vendors because that's material that they can use and sell. So while throwing away stuff costs us money, recycling products earns us money. So if you waste less, it saves us money, and if you recycle more, we earn more money, and that's money that our school uses for all sorts of things. And roughly about 10 to 20% of the material we recycle, or we throw away is recyclable, or our total waste, sorry, is recyclable. And on to Recyclemania. This competition started in 2001 between Ohio University and Miami University. Since then, it's grown to over 500 colleges and universities nationwide. It's an 8-week-long competition, and this year it goes from February 5th, which was this past Sunday, to March 31st. Our 2010 to 2011 results are shown below. The lower percentiles means that we performed worse in the overall category, but there are 4 awards categories for Recyclemania. The grand champion is the highest recycling rate compared to waste rate, so you want a higher ratio of goods recycled versus goods thrown away. The per capita prize goes to the highest pounds of recycling per person. So if you recycle the most per university size, that's optimal for that prize. The waste minimization prize is sort of the reverse of that. It goes to the school that has the least amount of waste per capita or per person on that university. And the Gorilla Prize, which we do actually pretty well at, is total tons of recyclable materials as just a gross amount, regardless of how many students you have at your school. So if you have any questions, or if you want to look for updates, we're going to have a Facebook page, we're going to have a Twitter page. We'll be posting weekly updates in the Observer and the Daily. So that's always a good place to find more information. Things you guys can do to help, you can tell people about Recyclemania. A lot of people don't really know that it's happening, so it would be nice to know. It's nice for as many students as possible to know that it's going on. But in general, recycling would be really helpful. A lot of materials you get on campus, vending machines, out on the quad, are recyclable. But most importantly, the most important thing is to use less stuff in general. If you can have snacks that don't have wrappers, like fruit or things like that, or prepare your own food, it uses less waste, and a lot of wrappers you can't recycle, unfortunately. So up here we have some contact information. If you have any questions about your building's energy use or things like that, you can email Gene Matthews. He's the Director of Facility Services. For any questions regarding any sustainability projects in energy, waste, recycling, management, things like that, Stephanie Corbett is our Sustainability Director. If you have any questions on what you can recycle or where you can recycle it, whatever it is, like electronics and things like that, you can email Erin Collar. She's up there as well. And if you want to get involved in the Student Sustainability Council or help out with any events we have on campus, you can email our chair, Elena Statue. Her email's up there as well. And I guess I'll leave it up there for if you guys have any questions.
Representative Rangaswamy.
If it's plastic, you probably can. If you guys have any doubts on what's recyclable and what's not, if you're not exactly sure, recycle it anyway, unless it's like really dirty or something like that, and that probably shouldn't, anyone shouldn't be touching it. It's better, yeah. If it's like that, just throw it away. But for the most part, if you're in doubt, you can always just recycle it. And our recycling processors, they can handle if it doesn't belong. They can handle it better than we can. So if you have any doubts like that, just go ahead and recycle it anyway. If it's plastic or metal, and they'll probably take care of it at their end. You're welcome.
Treasurer Schlaf.
How's your PR doing on campus?
It's doing a lot better than last year. We're having a bunch of events around campus. Like there'll be something going on at Nord around noon tomorrow. So make sure you guys are on the quad then. We're getting a UPB co-sponsorship as well. So we're going to try to co-sponsor between Tuesdays and have a recycling event midway through the competition. And we're working on some other things as well. Like we're having every last Thursday, of every month, we're having a sustainability related talk. Like last month we had Gene Matthews and Stephanie talk about their efforts on campus, basically what they do day to day. That was the 26th, I believe, of January. This coming end of the month, Thursday in February, we're having Megan Reister, who is the sustainability coordinator of the Med Center Company, which is where we get a lot of our energy from. It's basically the big smokestack and coal plant that's right near UH, right across from Veal near the wind turbine. And David Beach, who's from the Natural History Museum, will also be talking. Those happen in Fribley and Wade. That's about 5:30 to 6:30 the last Thursday of every month. So that's helping with our PR. It's gotten a lot better since last year.
Representative Liu, did you have a question?
Yeah, I think I also want to ask about PR, but another question is because I know sometimes you have recycle trash can, and then there's no other like regular trash can around, so people just throw trash in it. Is there a way to improve that, or?
Yes, actually, if you see anywhere on campus where that's the case, if it's a recycling bin or a waste bin, contact either Aaron, our recycling manager, or Stephanie, and they will work to fix that as soon as possible. That's one problem we have where there's trash cans and no recycling bins, or vice versa, and people just use one like it's both, and that just doesn't help anyone. So if you do notice that, please tell someone. Please tell if you're in your dorm, tell your RA, they'll fix it. If you're not in a dorm, you're on campus, email one of them, and they'll take care of it. They're happy to take care of it as soon as possible.
Representative Gallo.
I was just wondering, is this PowerPoint available online or anywhere?
That's a good question. I don't know that, but I can make it available if people desire it to. I'll look into that.
Yeah.
You'll have to remind me of your name. Representative Relson.
Yes. Dave's on Cedar actually has a big bin in front of their store. If you're walking in from the parking lot, you can recycle them. You can also recycle them in our recycling bins because we can process the plastic bags. So you can take those and throw them right in the bin with all the plastic bottles and things like that.
Any final questions for our speaker? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
So moving into our normal reports for the night, President Agarwal, whenever you're ready.
So I'm just going to make 2 additions to my report. SLIG committee met yesterday, Student Life Improvement Grant, and we have some exciting news. The application is secret for you guys. It's already live, but we're going to make it officially advertise it tomorrow as the first day for students to submit applications. It's going to be via Collegiate Link like it was last year. And the most exciting thing is that because Collegiate Link is single sign-on, even departments and offices, anybody with a case ID can submit a SLIG, and which is what our objective was this year, was to reach out to more than just students, but to departments and offices. So we're really excited that it'll be very convenient, that we can still keep the Collegiate Link application live and use that to also cater to offices and departments. And we'll start advertising for that, but you can also start encouraging your friends to submit a SLIG. And if you have a question about what SLIG is, you can contact me or Jaisal or Colin or VP Hale. So that's that. And I just wanted to, if there are no questions about my report as it stands, I wanted to take the opportunity to inaugurate representatives because we've had a huge influx so far. And I also want to take the opportunity to inaugurate reps who I have failed to acknowledge in the way past. So if you don't recall ever being inaugurated officially into USG, please do come up here so I can do that now. So this means anybody who's recently elected last week or today, you can come up here, please.
Well, do I need to do it again?
Yes.
Yes?
Well, I mean, actually, Speaker of the Elections Commissioner is not an official position.
Okay.
So you don't have to.
I'm just guessing. I'm
Yeah, but
We're asking, sorry.
good question. We can inaugurate you if you'd like. And again, no problem. Oh, right here, right here. Sorry,
It's like it's
I'm
an
sorry.
oath, like, I don't know.
Right, front and center.
She asked, like, who's been elected recently. I was like,
Cool. Okay, if you could please raise your right hand. I state your name in full. Do solemnly swear, as a representative of the USG, to responsibly represent my constituency to the best of my ability. I promise to faithfully uphold the Constitution and all appropriate bylaws of the USG. As an elected representative to the USG, I further pledge to serve the students of Case Western Reserve University with integrity and honesty. Congratulations. I am open to points. Okay, thank you.
Representative Rangaswamy.
Yes, so SLIG will begin, it'll be officially advertised, open to campus tomorrow. And we will be accepting applications up until the 24th, and we'll extend the deadline if need be.
Representative Shaw.
So I'm informed that like if a representative wanted to use funds for some sort of incentivization of something, they approach the executive committee. Is that true?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Divya. For student life, we have in place of VP Hale, we have Representative DeBaz.
Hi. Okay, so James was actually really thorough in his report, but he did want me to draw your attention to the numbers we got for the surveys. We had 727 responses for the smoking survey and 193 for the room reservations. So that's really, really awesome, and we're really excited about it. And besides that, I'm open to points if anyone has any questions.
Representative Shaw.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, I think maybe it was two assembly meetings ago that it was either Representative Dooner or, VP Dooner or maybe it was VP Hale had talked about the situation with the TVs. Is that something that you or Vice President Hale might be able to address? The intermittency with the. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the Student Life Committee? Thank you, Representative DeBaz. Vice President Shaw.
So as it says on the agenda, any disbursements that were from last semester that were denied by me, they can be resubmitted by the end of this month, preferably. What had happened was I had to deny a bunch of requests because I could not find the disbursement from last semester. And these students, they probably already were able to get reimbursed, but I just had to clear out their accounts, so that's why I had to deny them. But if any student comes up and says, oh, USG owes me like $300 or something, they can just resubmit the denied request and they can get their money back. Second thing is, so whenever we go through and recognize groups, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that once we recognize them, they are given an automatic $50. That's any group that gets recognized, they get $50 automatically, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that. So that would come out of rolling funding money. I'm open to points.
Representative Shaw.
Is that $50 reapplied every time they're re-recognized every year?
Yes.
Any other points for VP Shaw? Thank you, Jay Shaw.
Thank you.
Would one of our treasurers like to give a report tonight?
Did you want to say something?
Well, no, I mean, I have my part, so if you want to say
All right. Colin and I work as a team. Anyway, the one thing I wanted to point out with what I wrote in our report was that it's to reiterate the fact that if a request in any way is denied on Collegiate Link, the student has to submit a brand new Collegiate Link form. Sorry, Colin, you're distracting me. Anyway, they have to submit a new Collegiate Link form, and also, if you're getting questions from students that are saying, I don't know what happened, it hasn't been approved yet, just ask them this simple question: did you print out the online copy and submit it into the brown box? And they'll either say yes or no. If it's a no, then that's the problem. If it's a yes, just say our treasurers are getting to it as soon as possible, because we are doing a lot of paperwork. But that's it for me.
And it is now time to use your iClickers for something other than voting, because it's the first ever episode of Who Wants to Win Candy from the Treasurers. It is augmented slightly by the fact that my schedule was kind of crazy today. I did not get a chance to get candy, so that's kind of a beta test. But we have our first question, and A is not yes anymore, surprisingly enough. So the first question that we have for you, and you're all going to vote, what is the button on Collegiate Link that students can click to submit a disbursement request? Is it A, create disbursement request, B, create purchase request, C, create money back request, or D, make it rain? Please vote. And if you choose E, you're going to give me candy, because that's just ridiculous. No lifelines. There for show. Okay, so let's see what people said. Whoa. So C and D are unfortunately not the right answers. And this is the one that's always boggled me, but it is not in fact A. The answer is indeed B, create purchase request. The way Collegiate Link works, we used to call them disbursements. We might be changing it, I don't know. But yes, the answer is B, so it's create purchase request. Okay. In the future, we'd probably give out candy at this point, but we'll go on to the next question. Imagine you have candy. So finally, from what office can students pick up their disbursement checks? A, Student Activities and Leadership, B, Chris Butler's office, C, the Registrar's office, or D, the Student Services office in Yoast. And if you get this wrong, no worries, I got this one wrong too, when I first answered it. What? They're disbursement checks. They're checks. Okay. Oh. Okay, so this is what Ellen wrote this question, and she got me because the Student Service Office is not actually real. It does not exist in any form.
I made it up.
The answer is, though, in fact, C, the Registrar's Office. This one, again, boggles us. We don't know why, but that's the answer. Student Activities and Leadership is where you go to get your petty cash voucher. But yeah, so maybe keep that one in mind for next week. I don't know. So that has been the first episode of Who Wants to Win Candy from the Treasurers. Next week, there will actually be candy.
Point of information, isn't it the cashier's office?
No, that is for petty cash vouchers. The checks actually come from the registrar's office. Again, I don't know why.
President Agarwal.
Point of clarification is that if their purchase was over $75, is that qualifies as a disbursement check. So petty cash vouchers, you pick that up from Student Activities Leadership, you take it to the cashier's office to get your money that is less than $75. But if you paid for something over $75, you pick up a disbursement check, and that is from the registrar's office. Boom.
Representative Butcher. Granted. Steve, you can start whenever you're ready.
I had two things to add to my report. Number one, I I hope you got the email from the provost. He's doing his big event every year on Friday to tell all the students, strategic plans, initiatives, and the big one, the tuition increase every year. So that's on Friday in Ford at community hour. So that's gonna be a rockin' time. Also, I'm also putting this out here to GA. We have a vacancy at the Faculty Senate Committee on Libraries. So if anyone is interested, email me. It's basically how it sounds. You're going to be talking about the different aspects of the library and their services they use, and the collections they buy, and all sorts of stuff. So let me know if you're interested. Open to points.
Thank you, Steve.
Don't all everyone email me.
Vice President Dooner, your report.
So to address Samir's point about cable TV, we took a survey. The results have been sort of passed along. We're gonna make sure to keep following up on cable TV problems. Now that Case Wireless is all done, we can worry about cable TV. Beyond that, we're working on software center improvements. Also, is another one of our current things. But other than that, I'm open to points.
Any points, Representative Shaw?
Yeah, the reason why I asked was I had been approached by several disgruntled students about this issue, and I did ask them if they had filled out the survey, and interestingly enough, their answers were no. So I was wondering what to do in a situation like that, and how to make their voices heard, or do I just keep on telling you, or?
So we had enough disgruntled students fill out the survey that I'm pretty sure they were well represented. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, but the general answer is if you're experiencing a problem, tell them to email Student Affairs IT department, and that's sa support@kstudy.edu, and they'll log the ticket in the system.
Thank you.
Parliamentarian McKee.
Okay, one quick update to my office hours. They are Tuesdays from 3 to 5, not my previously listed office hours. And my point of the week, continuing with the trend of my points in February being more or less Robert's Rules related. USG thrives off its representatives, especially after some of the discussion today. It's a really great week to get out there and ask the students what they think. In addition to, if you have things you want to bring up or things you want to work on, it's still plenty early enough in the semester to take that initiative, talk to somebody about it, get feedback on it, and start moving it along. So things to keep in mind moving forward. I'm open to points.
Any points for the parliamentarian? Okay, thank you. Are there any caucus speakers that would like to give a report tonight? Okay. Open forum. Secretary Brown, is there anything for the USG feedback report?
There's a couple of things, you guys. So a couple people have been using the feedback report to give their opinions based on the resolution that we've been discussing. So a couple people have been against it. So there have been points where your constituents may be using it to voice their opinions. And then there was a nice little poem that was written by an anonymous person, apparently, that I'm just going to read to you guys. Do not just raise issues, come up with creative solutions to solve problems. Do not just demand things from the university. Work with administrators to find new ways of doing things. Remember to, quote, think beyond the possible, winky face. That's all.
Thank you. Anything for open forum tonight? Okay. Seeing no topics for open forum. Colleen, would you like to give a report tonight?
Just very briefly. At my session for the retreat, I did a very brief event planning session, and I want to thank Taryn and Laura for helping with that session. And Taryn typed up the list of brainstorming activities. What we did is we pulled objects out of a bag, and then we creatively assigned potential events that could go along with it. It's just a little exercise that helps you to think on your feet and think outside of the box. So what I did is she source for you to put in your notebook that if you are developing events for your caucuses or committees or whatnot, this might help you. But in addition, it's also just to let you remind you that if you need help developing an initiative or if you have an idea that you want to bring to fruition, I would love to help. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Colleen. Are there any announcements tonight? Representative Gallo.
All right, so a couple things. No basketball game this week. We have a game next week though on Wednesday at 9:30, and then the playoffs start.
So we're pretty excited about that. And as far as like fun things to do this week, I'm gonna just highlight a couple. There's a lot of fun stuff I'm sending on email later if you guys want to look at it. But tomorrow night there's a dating doctor, David Coleman. He's a SIGEP, by the way, just in case you were wondering. But he's going to be at the Temple starting, and it's starting at 7:30. There's going to be greenies taking people from Fribley, Juniper, and House 5 over to the Temple starting at 6:30, talking about dating, relationships, romance, sex, marriage, and leadership, which is why I think we should all go. So that's one thing to look at. And then another thing I'd like to highlight is the UAA Wrestling Championships are this weekend. Case versus New York University and Chicago, 11 a.m. on Saturday. We have a national championship on national champion wrestler on our team. If you didn't know that, he's pretty good. I would suggest going to watch. Oh yes, recruitment. I hope all the girls had fun with recruitment. I hope you guys all, nobody freaked out or anything. And the Super Bowl was crazy. I don't know if you guys wanted the Giants to win, but they won. I wanted them to. It was awesome. That's all.
Thank you. President Agrawal.
Okay, the SEC, Student Executive Council, is looking for a secretary. We elect a secretary every semester, and basically you just kind of hang out with all the organization presidents and VPs of finance and treasurers, and maybe get some nice food, some dinner as well, and take notes for us. So if you're really, interested in learning about all of the organization's activities and being a part of the Student Executive Council, let me know if you'd be interested in being a secretary, and I can nominate you. The next meeting for the SEC is on February 13th.
Colleen.
This Friday is the KSA night. Don't know if anybody knew that. This Friday during the day is the Power of Purple celebration. So maybe you go hear the provost and then you come over. But either way, you're getting free food from Qdoba. The Jolly Scholar is donating wings, and there'll be dessert from Bon Appetit. We have a iPad that we're raffling that night at the faculty staff basketball game. So there's going to be a lot going on. Solstice is singing, case in point. There's going to be some lovely things. That's Friday in the community hour in the atrium. And then that night is the faculty staff basketball game, 5:30 p.m. Proceeds to benefit for all the fundraising that we're doing at the game. Okay, then Friday night, UPB is planning their ski trip at Brandywine, and that's going to be at 10 p.m. I believe I can't remember. I think it's a college night. Bowling. Did I say bowling? Ski trip. Ski trip. Did I say bowling? Good Lord. It's a ski trip. Sorry. And that's Friday night. And then next Tuesday, Happy Valentine's Day, UPB is doing a chocolate fountain and massages and other lovely things for Twing Tuesday. So make sure you beat it over to Twing on Tuesday. Okay? That's it.
Thank you, Colleen. Representative Waterston.
Hey, not to be a downer, but maybe engineering caucus should meet after this GA because our leaders have resigned twice, so we should figure out what we're doing.
Representative Cornelius.
Next Saturday, the 18th, the nursing school is hosting a nurses ball, just to show off the accomplishments of the nursing school. It's open and to the rest of the community. It's open to the whole school. It's $5 at the door in Haworka. At 7.
Thank you. Representative Ridgway.
well, as a new candidate for Sigma Nu, Nacho Tuesday this night at 11. Be there.
Representative Gallo.
Yeah, I just forgot to mention a couple things. Everything Colleen said is actually going to be in the email later. So if you're still interested in stuff like that, then make sure to check out the email. For clarification, the skiing is Friday from 10 to 2 a.m. It's $15 to get rentals and a lift ticket. Also, Arts and Science Caucus, check your emails after this. I'm deciding on a time for the meeting at midnight, so make sure that the doodle is done. I don't want to leave anyone out. And also, for all the people that are like developers or like know how to make apps, BlackBerry has a program going on right now. If you can develop an app, you get a free playbook, which is a tablet. So, you know, just something to throw out there.
Representative Tran.
This Sunday is the deadline to apply for any summer opportunities to work with Housing and Residence Life. And also this Sunday at 8:30 in the spot is our state auction. So come by us.
Representative Shaw.
The language department at Case Western is having a guest speaker, a Spanish film producer, come in on Friday to give a talk from 10:30 till 1 p.m. in Guilford Lounge and from 4 p.m. till 6:30 in Clark 309. Also, there will be a freshman caucus meeting after this.
Secretary Brown.
I know that we have a lot of new representatives here, so if any of you guys are interested in becoming a part of the USG social list that we have, you can email any of us on the executive board and we'll pass those along to VP Cruz, who's not here tonight.
Treasurer Schloff.
Okay, sorry guys. I sent out an email and it was supposed to go to the social list, but I couldn't find the list or whatever. It doesn't even matter. I sent it out to GA. There's this it's a fundraiser for Relay for Life, and I think it'd be fun. It's a triathlon, and you just need 3 people on the team, and I want to do it. So someone step up and do it, cause I just want to.
Thank you. Representative Kallmeyer. Representative Gallo.
That triathlon's actually this Sunday. So we already have 2 people. If somebody else is going to do it, just email me and I can set that up for you guys.
Okay, it's in the hands of Dan.
Yeah. Move to adjourn.
Before we adjourn, are there any final announcements? Representative Theo.
Orientation leader applications are due March 16th. It's a great job. Do it. Because you get to work with Colin and I all summer, which will be fun.
I pity the souls that have to call you coworkers.
It'll be fun. And one last thing. I think Speaker Rodenzik deserves a round of applause for his service thus far.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So there was a motion to adjourn. Is it seconded? Any dissent?